Gentlemen, she's not accustomed to public speaking, so...
The idea for this PechaKucha talk came actually from a conversation between the organizers, where we said, well, if someone doesn't come in with a PechaKucha talk, we'll just have a rolling slideshow of teddy bears, because everyone can connect with teddy bears. And why is that? Well, because we're nostalgic beings. And we've just recently found out, thanks to some pretty cool series that have been done by the BBC, Planet Earth, you guys may have heard of it, and now Life, and pretty soon Arctic Life, that we're not the only species on this planet that now collects things for nostalgic purposes. We previously used to think that we were the only species that did this, that every other species that went around and collected twigs or pogs did it because they were trying to create a nest. Those are my pogs, by the way. Did it because they were either trying to collect food, hoarding food, or to build shelter. And we humans, we're the only ones who collect junk. But why do we do it? Why do we collect Beanie Babies? Why do we go from the generation of my grandparents collecting newspapers, to my mother's generation collecting marbles and tops, to now this current generation, we collect Beanie Babies and Pogs, to the future generations of kids, Tamagotchi? Is that too late? No. What is this? Cell phone? Well, yeah, pretty soon electronics, right? So I went around and asked all the speakers to share with me an image of what they collect. And this is one of the speakers that'll be up tonight. And those are golf scoring cards. Every single game of golf we ever played, you kept his golf scorecard. As you just heard, travel sketch journals.
Only a few of them.
Only a couple. I think you edited those out a little bit. The purpose for me showing this collection is to make a statement about how we edit our lives. Can you find the baby in this image? Pretty much as babies, we are inundated with this activity of creating collections, that our collections define us. And even from such a young and impressionable age, we're shown, it's okay. Daddy's got a collection of cars in the garage you cannot touch or breathe on. But it's okay, because they define us to a certain extent. Not just cars, or stuffed animals, or pogs, or marbles, but a piece of ourselves and our identity. And then eventually, they end up, these are PlayStation 2 games only. No other gaming console, by the way. I will not release who in the audience that just PlayStation 2. Anyway. The point of me showing you these images is that this is not just a heap of garbage that you're looking at. If you look carefully enough, it's a heap of Legos. Legos that you create with. This is probably a little kid who will grow up to be an architect, or an engineer, an artist, a designer. And why? Because at such a young age, they were shown that they could collect these tools. Slightly less scary, but in a different way, is those Legos organized in what used to be Mom's basement. What's funny about these collections is how far or how much more often we go back to them once we've created these collections. When's the last time, well, besides this, right? You can't go into any 20 or 30 something's house without seeing some type of ridiculous hipster collection, of course. It's just, that's the new collection. What I was going to say, though, is, are these collections it? No. Do they make us happy? Not really. And how do we know this? Because when we travel, we like to take as few things with us as we can. We like to leave our stuff behind. We escape it. We go off into remote areas where we find or get in touch with nature, places that inspire us, that get us away from the shit in our basements, in our garages, the stuff that seems to add weight to our lives. And this says a lot about the way we're going to evolve over the next couple of decades. Now, houses have increased in size over the past 50 years. I'm sure this infographic will surprise no one. I'm sure you guys have all heard. Over the last 50 years, we've increased the amount of space we use to store our shit by 3 times. Now it's reducing a little. In the last 5 years alone, we've gone down by about 0.1%. But what has not gone down is public storage. We're shrinking our houses again so that they cost less from an energy perspective, but then we're taking the junk out of our houses and moving it somewhere else. Storage is a $22 billion a year industry. And get this, it uses up, in the United States alone, 3 billion square feet of space. Imagine what you could do with that space if it wasn't used to store your collections. Now our collections also have some downsides, debt, obviously CO2, we can talk about that, and added stress. When you move and you have to load millions of boxes and move them, take them from apartment to house, to another house, to eventually, when you're empty nesters, your condo. That's why I think that the next wave of design is really going to be focused on this: editing your life. And what's going to be the main variable constraint that I think we'll design to? It's going to be happiness. Now this is Andrew Hyde. If you can't see the picture, those are all of his possessions. He is a Dane, and he is a world traveler and a storyteller, and he lives by this philosophy, that less is more. Now I don't know if this is true for everyone, but I'm certainly going to consider that if less really is more, if what I want is less space instead of more space, and that's going to mean less stress and less debt in the future, and maybe a stronger community, then I only want to fill my space with the good stuff.